Next year, you'll wish you had started today. We judge others by their actions and ourselves on our intentions. Really made me think about people, and I tried telling myself that when the fucking idiot in front of me doesn't indicate when merging. The person that you will spend the most time with in your life is yourself, so try to make yourself as interesting as possible. I was a pretty religious kid. In 8th grade a girl said, "I'm so glad I was born into a family with the right religion." It made me question my whole belief system, and led me to becoming agnostic. "I'm bored" is a useless thing to say. I mean, you live in a great, big, vast world that you've seen none percent of. Even the inside of your own mind is endless. It goes on forever. Inwardly, do you understand? The fact that you're alive is amazing. So you don't get to say "I'm bored." I was 13 years old, trying to teach my 6-year-old sister how to dive into a swimming pool from the side of the pool. It was taking quite a while as my sister was really nervous about it. We were at a big, public pool, and nearby there was a woman, about 75 years old, slowly swimming laps. Occasionally she would stop and watch us. Finally she swam over to us just when I was really putting the pressure on, trying to get my sister to try the dive, and my sister was shouting, "But I'm afraid. I'm so afraid." The old woman looked at my sister, raised her fist defiantly in the air and said, "So be afraid. And then do it anyway." In an episode of Louie he tells one of his daughters, "The only time you should look in your neighbor's bowl is to make sure he has enough." You know you're an adult when you can be right without proving the other person wrong. A good friend once told me, "You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm." When I was in college a friend of mine told me I was gentle, after being called sensitive all my life up until that point, and not in a good way. Hearing that made me feel a lot better about myself. I was having a bad day one time and being all "why me?" when a coworker said "why not you?" I had never thought about it before, but it was a good point. So I shut up and got over it. When I was 38 I contemplated beginning a 2-year associate's degree in radiography. I was talking to a friend and had almost talked myself out of doing it. I said "I'm too old to start that. I'll be 40 when I get my degree." My friend said, "If you don't do it, you'll still be 40, but without the degree." I'm nearly 60 now, and that degree has been the difference between making a decent living and struggling to get by. I was sitting in a bus once, and we came to the railroad tracks. There were some cars sitting in between us and the next red light, so if a train came, we'd be stuck until it had passed. That was always a couple of annoying minutes. Then the light turned green, and the bus went across the train tracks without having to wait for a train. Phew, crisis averted. Then, behind me, a mother said to her small child, "That was too bad. We didn't get to see the train today." That was the perfect way to frame that. Why not enjoy what you get? There's no point trying to track down your significant other when they go out, or even asking them not to go, just because you're afraid of being cheated on. If they want to cheat on you, they will. They will miss a day of work, or lie about visiting their parents, or even fake a medical appointment. There's nothing you can do about that. The only thing you can do is being a loving, caring person. This is the most effective way of obtaining someone's love and trust. Would you rather wake up in 20 years wondering what you missed, or wake up in 20 years knowing exactly what you missed? A fool thinks himself to be a wise man. A wise man knows himself to be a fool. I rather live a life of oh wells than what ifs. My psychologist gave me a print of a picture of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet in the forest. This is the quote that went with it. "Supposing a tree fell down, Pooh, when we were underneath it?" "Supposing it didn't," said Pooh. After careful thought, Piglet was comforted by this. "It's only embarrassing if you're embarrassed." Changed my life forever. Do it to do it, not to have done it. Teacher of mine. If you're scared of doing it because you're afraid that people will judge you, trust me, they won't even remember it after a year. People won't remember the words you say, but how it made them feel. Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when we look back everything is different? C.S. Lewis. I learn to give, not because I have too much, but because I know how it feels to have nothing. I'm the oldest of 3 kids. I'm older than my little brother by 2.5 years and my little sister by 9.5. When I was about 14 or so, arguing with my dad in private about something I don't remember, he, being the second oldest of 8 kids, told me, any decision you make in this household, you make 3 times. Once when you make it, once when your brother makes the same decision after watching you do it, and once when your sister makes the same decision after watching you and your brother do it. How you treat your brother will tell him how he can treat your sister, and how you treat your sister tells her how she will expect to be treated for the rest of her life, even as far as her future boyfriends. My old boss, the CEO of a small hospital, told me a story from back when he was a lab technician. For simplicity, let's call him Dan. Dan had forgotten to check some sort of mechanism on a piece of equipment he used. It malfunctioned and broke the equipment, which ended up having around a $250,000 repair bill. The next day Dan's boss called him in to talk about it, and he was sure he was going to be fired. His boss asked him why he didn't do a proper check, made sure he understood what happened, and sent him back to work. Dan asked him, "Am I not getting fired? I was almost sure that's what this was about." His boss said, "No way. I just spent $250,000 teaching you a lesson you'll never forget. Why would I fire you now?" The next question will be announced in part 3. For now, you can see and submit life-changing and other types of quotes to the new quotes category by clicking the link below.